Folks, if you love fantasy football and you believe you can predict the statistics in the Miami Pitt game better than me, then you go to MiamiMoneyball.com. You go there, and there are 12 stats categories in which you select the stats for both teams and how they will match up. Pitt, Miami, the game at Heinz Field coming up on Saturday, and there are tons of prizes there. Just go check it out that you can win money and other prizes. MiamiMoneyball.com. And also, I want to point you toward my Week 9 college football predictions in the link in the description section below. 14-7 against the spread. Do this math one time. 100 times 7 would be $700 in losses. 14 times 91, which is how much you would win per $100 bet on those wins. 14 times 91 versus the 700 you lose. I think you're about $600 ahead. 14-7 against the spread last week. 58% for the season against the spread. All right, back to the topic at hand. I thought Cam Harris played a good game. I thought it's ironic that you mentioned the screenplay out of the gate in regards to the one that they did not execute, or maybe your argument was that it shouldn't have been called at that point. But actually, the screenplays, they opened up for them a number of times, and they ran some very successful screens to Cam Harris.
Yeah. I mean, Miami is a team that does run screens and run them well. I didn't think that it should have been called at that time on the first drive, and it did not get executed well. So both of those things were true. But no, Cam Harris he did yeoman's work. He had a career day, 18 carries for 136. That's a career high in attempts and rushing yards. He had also 3 catches for 31 and a touchdown on screen passes, basically. And one of those screens, it wasn't a far distance, but that was a throw from N'Kosi Perry. You had 3 defenders coming from the front side, hands up in different angles, and he got that ball right in there. That was a throw. That was a throw. If you think about the throws he's made down the field where he's fitted into tight windows, that screen pass, and that was the touchdown, I want to say, was as good of a throw as any throw down the field that he's made. Screens are a thing that can be in the offense. I just didn't think it was right at the time, and we didn't run it well on that first drive. But and I said to people, Cam Harris can catch the ball out of the backfield just from watching him in high school on 7-on-7. Some other people who follow recruiting were like, no, he can't. And I said, I just disagree with you. And I'm not going to say that he's DJ Dallas, because, DJ Dallas literally played wide receiver when he first got here. And in high school, he played wide receiver, tight end, running back, quarterback, safety, corner, linebacker, all those kind of things. So his skills as a receiver are different than Cam Harris's. But Cam Harris is, one of the strongest guys on the team, pound for pound. He's just yoked up, rock solid. He will run you over. He's faster than you want to necessarily think that he is. But no, he's a good player, very talented guy. He was a 4-star recruit just last year. So, if you're talking about the top end talent of the roster, you have to talk about Cam Harris, and he's doing really well as he's stepping up into a bigger role.
I am typically not one to overreact. That's what we typically do as fans. I may be on the other end of the spectrum where I sit back and wait a little bit too long at times. So if you go to the emergency, nth degree disaster, crash and burn, dumpster fire program, then you fire Diaz and you say, we're horrible, we're atrocious, how can we go 3-4 against this schedule, and also a Central Michigan game that we only won by 5 and scored 17 points, and on with all the negatives. You can go on the other end of the spectrum, as has been noted, and just isolate field goal kicking. If we had a capable kicker, now the one error that many people make in this situation is they'll say, our field goal kicker's 10 for 23, let's say. They'll say, what if we had a field goal kicker who was 23 for 23? Well, you can't do that. You need to say, okay, what if we had a reasonable field goal kicker who was 17 or 18 for 23, let's say? The point I'm making is the record is the record. I think Bill Parcells most famously said, you are what you are because that's the record.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I completely agree with that. But we are in the field of evaluation, and not every 3-4 team is created equal. And there are actually 3-4 teams that are better than 4-3 teams and 5-2 teams and all over the map. What I'm saying is it as simple, not that this would be a great team that would be challenging Clemson or whatever, but how much better would the record look if they just had adequate field goal kicking?
I mean, 5-2, 6-1. Legitimately.
And I think they look bad. They're underachieving. I just posted a video where I criticized them to holy hell, but at the same time, yes, just take that one position. And if it was just capable, again, I'm not talking about all-time great, never miss a kick, capable, hitting 80% of your field goals.
Right. And I mean, that
and
would
extra
be,
points.
well, I mean, that too. Hello. But yeah, Miami's missed a couple extra points this year. You've gone, 6 for 13 kicking field goals this year. There are so many things that have gone awry for this this team this far in the year. I've gotten on here and I've bashed Robert Knowles in the past. Robert Knowles is playing pretty well. Who's playing worse than Knowles did, or worse than Knowles used to, based upon usage? DJ Ivey. It's been pretty terrible. I think he'd given up like 11 out of 14 targets for completions before last week's game. He decides to be asleep on the job for the fake field goal touchdown. The other touchdown, he's looking in the only offensive touchdown that they scored with like their offense on the field. He's looking in the backfield, letting a guy run by him, and they score again. Like as loud as the decry was for having Robert Knowles on the field, DJ Ivey has been worse this year than Knowles was in the last two. So yeah, it was. That's pretty bad. You're missing tackles left and right, regardless of who's in there. It gets cleaned up for a little bit, when Pinckney and Quarterman finally buckle in there. But Pinckney goes out injured, then you bring in a walk on. That's not going to help. You got guys up front missing tackles too. Every team has bad calls go against them. I see more of them with Miami, but then again, I watch every single play that Miami plays. I don't watch every single play of any other team, so I don't know about all that. As a comparison. But what I will say is I've seen plenty of bad calls go against Miami's way. You get guys open and you drop passes. The offensive line's not working. The offensive line, actually, I think they played their best game against Georgia Tech. They gave time. There was running room. Like it wasn't perfect, but I can start to see them turning a corner. But to echo the sentiments of my SB Nation colleague Bud Elliott over at Banner Society, when Florida State was abjectly terrible on the offensive line last year, people are saying, or in his fan base, that the goal should be, to be above league average. And he said, no, we're atrocious. The goal for improvement should be to go from atrocious to bad. And that's actually a step forward. And I think that that's honestly where the offensive line is getting towards being bad. Bad towards average would be another step forward. But there's so many things, and on the counter side, people, and obviously, like Manny Diaz, he's going to take the utopian kind of view of things. He's going to take the glass half full of we're 4 plays away from being undefeated or yada, yada, yada. But we're not. And that also ignores the failings that have been going on. People are not making plays. And I've been saying for years that we need somebody to make a positive program-changing play. And then you think that you get those. TJ Dallas's touchdown run against Virginia Tech, you win that game. You come in, you're 5-2 at that point, because you beat them, you beat Georgia Tech because, you continue things going. You think that touchdown run in the fourth quarter when he shrugged off tackles from everybody, he's weaving, he's going, he's using his speed, he gets to the end zone. That was a singularly great play. And you think this could be the moment, but it wasn't. And it's just not, the performance is not where it needs to be.